Welcome to Ace My Exams Learning. Let us get started with today's learning.
Religion Studies Grade 12. Question: In the context of religion, give a brief explanation of religious identity. Religious identity is the way in which individuals define themselves and are recognized by others based on their religion. It refers to the qualities and practices that connect a person to a specific faith tradition. Religious identity is shaped by religious characteristics that give people a sense of who they are. These characteristics may include sacred teachings, prayer, moral conduct, or traditions that guide their daily life. In this way, identity becomes a source of self-understanding and personal meaning. An equally important feature is that it also gives a sense of belonging arising from shared teachings, values, and rituals or practices. Believers come together for communal worship, observe festivals, and share moral teachings, all of which create a deep feeling of unity. This belonging strengthens both personal faith and community life. Religious symbols are an integral part of religious identity because they outwardly demonstrate faith and membership in a religious group. For example, a Christian cross, a Hindu tilak, or Islamic calligraphy reflect devotion and remind both the wearer and the community of their religious ties. Question: In the context of religion, give a brief explanation of unity. Unity in religion is the sense of togetherness and oneness that exists among believers within the same faith or across different traditions. It is about being connected through shared beliefs and practices while working towards harmony. Unity is expressed as standing together for a common purpose. This purpose may be service to humanity, supporting justice, or helping the needy. When people stand together, they act as one strong body that reflects the values of their faith. On a spiritual level, it is a sense of being at one with the divine power, as it is defined by each religion. For many believers, rituals like prayer, fasting, or meditation create this bond with the divine. Through this connection, people feel united not only with each other, but also with the higher power they worship. For instance, Christian groups may unite for charity drives, or interfaith groups may come together to promote peace. These actions display unity and strength in creating positive social impact. Question: In the context of religion, give a brief explanation of similarities. Similarities in religion refer to the common features or practices that different religions share, despite their differences. These similarities can be found in beliefs, rituals, or moral values. These might be teachings about love, prayer, fasting, or respect for life. Recognizing these connections helps create understanding across faiths. It is important to realize that these can be superficial or very deep and fundamental. A superficial similarity may be the use of sacred objects like prayer beads, while a fundamental similarity may be the teaching of compassion and justice as key moral values. Both kinds are important in showing how religions overlap. One clear example is found in mythology. There are many similarities between the gods and goddesses in Greek and Roman mythology. While their names are different, they represent the same aspects of life, such as wisdom, war, and love, thus demonstrating how similarities reveal shared traditions across cultures and faiths. Question: In the context of religion, give a brief explanation of parable. A parable is a short story used in religion to communicate a moral or spiritual lesson. It is designed to make complex teachings simple and understandable through familiar images or situations. A parable illustrates a religious principle or answers a religious question. It does not exist just for entertainment, but carries deeper meaning that teaches values and beliefs. Another feature is that it is usually very short and contains definite moral or religious beliefs. The short nature allows it to be remembered easily, while its clear moral message guides people in their daily lives and spiritual growth. An example is given in Christianity. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, Jesus teaches us to have compassion for our neighbor. This story demonstrates that kindness and love should not be limited to friends or family, but extended to anyone in need, even strangers. Such stories continue to guide religious practice and moral decisions. Religion Studies Grade 12. Question: State the unique features of Taoism. Taoism is an ancient Chinese religion and philosophy that has unique teachings and practices which distinguish it from other religions. Its focus is on living a balanced and simple life in line with the natural order of the universe. A key feature is the emphasis on living in harmony with the Tao. The Tao is understood as the natural way or path of the universe, and Taoists believe that peace and fulfillment can only be found when human beings align themselves with this flow. This idea promotes humility, simplicity, and a deep respect for nature. Another unique characteristic of Taoism is Wu Wei non-action, or effortless religion. This does not mean complete passivity, but rather the practice of acting in a way that is spontaneous and natural, without unnecessary force or resistance. In daily life, this principle encourages patience, calmness, and the ability to adapt to circumstances without unnecessary struggle. Taoism is also distinct because of its contribution to physical and spiritual practice. It is the only religion to have given rise to martial arts. Martial arts forms such as Tai Chi and Kung Fu are deeply connected to Taoist principles, combining discipline, meditation, and physical movement as a way of cultivating energy and harmony within the body and mind. Question: State the unique features of Christianity. Christianity is a world religion centered on the life and teachings of Jesus Christ, with beliefs that set it apart from other faiths. Its doctrines and practices focus on salvation, love, and faith in God. At the heart of Christianity is the belief that it teaches that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. This belief gives Christians a personal connection to the divine through Jesus, who is worshipped as both fully human and fully divine. A further feature is that the Trinity is its central teaching about divinity. Christians believe that God exists as three persons in one divine essence: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. This doctrine is unique to Christianity and highlights its understanding of God as a relationship of love. Equally central to Christian belief is that it teaches that Jesus died and rose again after 3 days. The resurrection is celebrated as the foundation of Christian hope, symbolizing victory over death and the promise of eternal life for believers. Another distinctive teaching is that Jesus died to save people from their sins. His sacrifice on the cross is understood as an act of redemption, bringing forgiveness and reconciliation between humanity and God. This belief shapes Christian worship, prayer, and moral values. Question: State the unique features of Hinduism. Hinduism is one of the oldest religions in the world, with a rich diversity of beliefs and practices. Its features are deeply connected to spirituality, inclusivity, and philosophical exploration. One important aspect is that Hinduism teaches both spiritual evolution and spiritual regression. Followers believe that the soul progresses through cycles of birth and rebirth, and depending on one's actions, karma, the soul can rise to higher states of spiritual awareness or regress into lower forms of existence. This cyclical view of life strongly influences Hindu practices and ethics. Another defining characteristic is that it teaches that there are many paths to God, and as such is a flexible and inclusive religion. This means that no single way is considered the only truth, allowing space for devotion, bhakti, knowledge, jnana, meditation, dhyana, and service, karma yoga. Such openness makes Hinduism adaptable to different cultural and personal needs. The structure of Hinduism also shows diversity, since within the religion, it is made up of different schools and traditions that have been free to develop their own ideas and practices. Schools like Vedanta, Yoga, and Nyaya contribute different philosophies, while practices such as temple rituals, pilgrimages, and festivals enrich religious life. This variety demonstrates the creativity and freedom found in Hinduism. A final unique feature is that it is the only religion that says you can be God. This belief comes from the idea of Atman, the individual soul, being identical to Brahman, the ultimate reality. In recognizing this unity, followers realize their divine nature and potential to transcend the limitations of ordinary human life. Religion Studies Grade 12. Question: differentiate between religions of the Middle East and religions of the Far East. Religions that originated in the Middle East and those that developed in the Far East are both deeply influential, but they differ in emphasis, character, and worldview. Their unique features reflect the regions in which they were born and the values they promote. In the Middle Eastern context, to these belong Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Bahá'í. These religions share a connection to Abrahamic traditions and are strongly centered on revelations from God through prophets, sacred texts, and laws. Their teachings have not only shaped spiritual life, but also had a profound impact on global cultures, ethics, and governance. A defining element of this group is that a marked feature of this cluster is monotheism. The belief in one supreme God unites these religions and creates a strong focus on worship, obedience, and moral responsibility to the divine. Monotheism also reinforces the idea of a single truth and universal authority guiding human life. On the other hand, when looking at the Far East, to these belong Taoism and Confucianism in China and Shinto in Japan. Unlike the Middle Eastern faiths, these religions are more closely tied to cultural traditions, philosophies, and ways of life that seek to cultivate harmony within society and the natural world. A striking characteristic of Far Eastern religions is that these religions generally display a remarkable aesthetic, artistic appreciation of beauty and harmony of nature. Taoism, for example, focuses on harmony with the Tao, while Shinto honors the spirits of nature, and Confucianism stresses order and respect within human relationships. Together, these traditions show how spirituality can be expressed through balance, art, and reverence for the world around us. Question: differentiate between doctrine and dogma. In religion, doctrine and dogma are closely related terms, but they are not the same. The distinction lies in the way these beliefs are understood, questioned, and accepted within faith communities. Doctrine can be described as a synonym for a religious teaching. It represents principles, instructions, or lessons that guide the faith and help believers grow in their understanding. Doctrines form the foundation of study, worship, and moral decision-making in different religions. What sets doctrine apart is that it is open to being contested. This means that doctrines may be debated, interpreted differently, or adjusted as new understandings develop. For instance, various Christian denominations may hold different doctrines on baptism or communion, showing that doctrine is flexible and adaptable. Dogma, however, has a more rigid and authoritative nature. It means a principle, tenet, or system of beliefs, particularly laid down by a religion's collective religious authority. These are core truths officially declared by religious leadership and are meant to serve as unquestionable foundations of the faith. The strictness of dogma comes from the fact that the concept dogma refers to the beliefs that followers are expected to accept without doubt. Dogma cannot be altered or challenged because it defines the essential truths of the religion itself. Examples include the Christian belief in the Trinity, or the Islamic declaration of faith in one God and Muhammad as his prophet, which must be accepted fully by followers. Question: list the characteristics of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a fundamental African philosophy that underpins social life and relationships within African communities. It emphasizes the interconnectedness of people and the importance of community in shaping identity and moral values. A core principle of Ubuntu is that it is a philosophy of communal spirit in African traditional religion. This means that individuals are encouraged to live in harmony, share resources, and support one another. The communal spirit promotes cooperation, respect, and collective responsibility, ensuring that society functions cohesively. Central to Ubuntu is the belief that a person is a person through others. In other words, one's humanity is realized through relationships with family, friends, and the wider community. Individual identity and personal growth are deeply linked to the well-being and acknowledgement of others, fostering empathy and mutual respect. Ubuntu also highlights its significance by showing that it is a very important part of life and living in African traditional religion. This philosophy shapes moral conduct, decision-making, and daily interactions, guiding people to live ethically and in harmony with both their community and ancestors. It influences rituals, ceremonies, and social responsibilities, demonstrating its pervasive role in life. Another defining characteristic is that the community is more important than the individual. Decisions and actions are evaluated based on how they benefit the group rather than purely personal gain. This collective approach ensures that society remains unified, harmonious, and resilient, and it teaches individuals to consider the welfare of others in all aspects of life. Question: elaborate on the following unique feature of Buddhism. The Buddha was human, not God. The Buddha was an ordinary human being who achieved enlightenment, not a divine or supernatural figure. Buddhism is distinct among world religions in that it teaches a human-centered approach to spirituality. The Buddha is revered not as a divine being, but as an enlightened teacher, who guides others on the path to liberation. A central principle is that Buddhism teaches that every person in the universe controls his or her own destiny, and is not controlled by anyone else or any superior being like God. This means that human beings have the power to shape their own lives through their actions and choices, rather than depending on an external deity for guidance or intervention. Another important aspect is that a person's good or ill fortune, success or failure, is determined by that person's deeds, good or bad, and his or her efforts towards enlightenment. In other words, karma and personal effort are central to the Buddhist worldview. The moral quality of one's actions directly influences future experiences and spiritual progress. Additionally, the Buddha can only show the way. He serves as a guide and teacher, demonstrating through his life and teachings how individuals can achieve enlightenment. Followers must actively engage in practice, meditation, and moral living to realize their own spiritual potential. Question: elaborate on the following unique feature of Buddhism. Buddhahood is attained and not inborn. Buddhahood is achieved through effort and practice, not something a person is born with. Buddhism emphasizes that spiritual perfection, or Buddhahood, is the result of effort and practice rather than an innate condition. This inclusive approach means that anyone willing to follow the path can achieve enlightenment. A key idea is that enlightenment is attained through a lifetime of wisdom and practice, not through inherent belief of faith. This means that spiritual progress is earned through disciplined study, meditation, ethical conduct, and understanding of the Dharma. Faith alone is not sufficient, continuous effort is essential. Another important point is that any person can follow the Buddha's path and attain Buddhahood. The teachings are not limited to a special group of people, they are universal. By applying the principles of compassion, mindfulness, and ethical living, anyone can work toward liberation. Additionally, any person can attain Buddhahood through following a bodhisattva's guidance. Bodhisattvas are enlightened beings who assist others on the path to awakening. By learning from their example and guidance, individuals can navigate challenges and steadily progress toward their own spiritual enlightenment.
To access more learning and exam preparation materials, go to www.acemyexams.coza. This link is also in the video description below. Thank you for watching this video. Remember to subscribe and be the first to know when we upload new videos.